Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I have the AOSON M1019NS, the successor of the AOSON R103. So if you guys remember, I named the AOSON R103 tablet as the best $100 tablet in 2017 that I used. So what's new in the newer version here? Well, not much, to be honest. This is a little more of an update. So you have the similar specs right here. Has a 10.1-inch 1280 by 800 IPS resolution, MTK8163 quad-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, a front 2 megapixel and rear 5 megapixel camera with a 6000 milliamp hour battery. But what's different here is that it's running Android 7.0. The reason why this could be a big deal is because I heard that the Android 7.0 is better optimized and it performs better on the newer model here, or the updated one. We have a USB to wall outlet, a micro USB to recharge the tablet, and then a user guide, as well as after sales service card. So clearly this looks identical to the AOSON R103. This is the successor, technically speaking. It's more of an updated model, where you have the micro USB, a micro SD card slot in here. I'll have how much it's expandable up to in the description. A 3.5mm headphone jack, you don't see that every day now. A 5 megapixel rear facing camera. On the side you have the power button, volume keys, and the reset button. And then on the bottom you have the speaker grills. I believe it only emits from one side. We'll double check that in a second. But yeah, no new colors or anything, just Android 7.0 on there. Now, one thing is that it's clearly not worth the upgrade if you're looking from Android 6 to Android 7. This is more so take a look at people who are in the market to see whether they want to get the 2017 model or if they want to try out the 2018 model. Now, it's going to be about a $5 to $6 difference, which isn't too much, but we'll see if this performs better and by how much. First game I'm checking out here is PUBG Mobile, and I usually just go ahead and show you benchmarks and everything, but I downloaded PUBG and I'm in a game right now. So the game performance, I have the settings set to the lowest, I want to say. Hold on, let me try to get this guy. And I gotta say, I believe they're at the lowest. If that's the case, it's still pretty laggy. You see, when I was in scope, it's just too choppy for it to be kind of playable in a sense. Some people might be able to find this playable, but for me, I just don't think so. It just looks a little too slow. And by the way, on video, it might seem better, or maybe not. I can't really tell too well, but in person, it's a lot easier to notice these things. Okay, so I knocked him out, even with all that lag, so I guess you can say it's playable. Or I'm just that good. Oh, they're set at medium, or I guess you can put it to low. And one reason why this was one of the best, or arguably the best tablet of 2017 with the older model, was the fact that it doesn't get hot after a little while. I'm not sure if it's the way they made this tablet, or if the CPU or the heatsink is just that good. So it's like, it does feel slightly warm, but it's very slight at this point. I know I have the plastic on here, but even if I take that off, it's not as bad as it seems. But either way, that's the one thing that was impressive about it compared to all the other tablets. So the Geekbench multi-score got a really low score for the multi-core, but the single-core was actually decent. It's at 580, 581, but the multi-score isn't good at all. If we put this into comparison, it just doesn't even come close to the LG Nexus 5, and that's the lowest score on the here. But the single-core, it's not too bad. I mean, of course, it's still lower than most of them, and I just wanted to show you that's what the LG Nexus 5 is at, 1764. So we've seen some tablets that have a better score performance, but scores don't always equate to performance. We'll test out at least one more game here, and then on the Antutu benchmark, it gets a score of around 32,600 by testing it twice. And so far, you know, that's a decent score. It's about the same as what we had from last year. And the specs are about the same, really pretty much the same from last year. And by the way, there's about 23 gigs out of the box. I didn't get to show that, but that's a decent amount of storage, nothing too crazy. And then you have the micro SD card slot to expand storage if you wanted.
With the 1280 by 800 resolution, videos are nice to watch in HD 720p. The speaker on the back is okay.
So the speaker is actually a little louder compared to other ones I've heard. I don't know if it's just me, but it sounds really loud. It still only emits from this side, So if you cover it with one finger, the sound's gonna kind of vanish in a sense, but you can still kind of hear it. But regardless, it's still a decent speaker for a $100 tablet, and you get 720p on here. But again, the only downside is that it doesn't get too bright. That's what I noticed compared to other tablets that I've tested out around this price so far this year, I want to say. The rear camera is still decent for a 5 megapixel camera. Now I had HDR mode on this one. The HDR was off on this one, and there's quite a bit of noise. You can kind of, maybe it's a little hard to tell on video, but I'll probably post this on the budget tablet subreddit, where you can check it out. I'll have a link down below where you can see that, and then you can kind of read some of the stuff. Actually, you can't, but it's like fresh made guacamole, mild, hot, or Southwest for $4.99 a pound. You know, that's something that I can read, but again, you have to have a steady hand for this to work. And things are readable, just barely, but you got to have a steady hand. If you don't, even if you move it slightly, it'll start looking blurry, like up here. This is with HDR mode. It kind of tries to just sharpen things up around. This game we're checking out here is called Sonic Boom 2. I think I might have messed up the name. Either way, it's free on the Play Store. And so far, I'm not noticing any problems whatsoever. No slowdowns, really. I'm expecting to see a little bit of stutter. I wouldn't be too surprised. But wow, so far it is working pretty well. The next game we're checking out here is called Fruit Ninja. I can't believe I missed that one. And so far it seems to be running pretty well. Not 100% smooth. Actually, I want to say it's smooth for the most part. I might be a little too nitpicky on this stuff, or I may notice it a little better in person. But nonetheless, all these 3D games, besides the high-end ones like PUBG Mobile, seem to work pretty well on this. So overall, I'd say this is still a good choice to pick up in 2018. I'm it's more of an update than an upgrade. And the reason I say that is because the main difference is that this is running Android 7.0. But what's surprising is that even though it's running Android 7, you still can't use multitasking like with what you can on other tablets. So that's definitely surprising and disappointing. Nonetheless, I still think it's a good price to pick it up at. At the time of this video, it's going for $100. Decent rear 5 megapixel camera, and then you don't feel that heat like you would on other tablets, so that's definitely a plus right there. And the speaker is quite nice. It gets a little louder, I want to say, than other tablets. So overall, it's still a good choice to pick up in 2018. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think it's a good choice, or did you find something else? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like if you found this video helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more.